Welcome back to 55 Degrees North, your go-to channel for all things construction, restoration and regeneration across Newcastle upon Tyne. This is episode 33 of your fortnightly Newcastle construction and restoration update. Coming up in this week's video, we'll be visiting all the usual sites from Pottery Lane and Pilgrim Place and many more. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video where there'll be a quick roundup of all other smaller projects going on around the city. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Again this week, starting at the site of the former General Hospital, the future Health and Innovation neighbourhood. This week we're seeing some big changes, especially towards the back of the site, where a lot of groundwork has been completed. Back here, much of the ground has now been levelled off. You can see heavy machinery crisscrossing the area, with one excavator hard at work moving heaps of crushed material into carefully organised piles. This is all part of preparing the land for the new infrastructure that will eventually rise here. Meanwhile, demolition crews have turned their attention to one of the remaining blocks still standing. The giant claw on the excavator makes short work of the old brickwork. Massive chunks of masonry crumble to the ground with every bite. The noise here must be deafening, the crunch of the brick and the metallic groan of the steel as history is pulled apart. To help speed things up, a long steel girder has been used to drag some of the fallen debris away from the walls, giving the excavator better access to the rest of the structure. It's a clever method that keeps the process moving efficiently and safely. Now moving across to the front of the site, not much has changed compared to the last couple of weeks, but turn the camera just a little and you'll notice something new. One of the outbuildings here is in the middle of being demolished. Watch closely as the excavator sorts through rubble, bricks, concrete and metal are separated into different piles, ready for recycling. It's a reminder that even in demolition, there's a focus on sustainability, reusing as much material as possible instead of sending it all to waste. Heading over to the old main hospital block, work is still very much in progress inside. Teams are busy stripping out internal fixtures and fittings, everything from ceilings and floors to pipes and wiring. And if you look at the top floors, you'll notice a change since our last visit. Several of the window frames have been removed piece by piece. This once bustling building is being taken apart. As we stand here today, the contrast between the past and the future is clear. What was once a working hospital is now a hive of construction activity. Week by week, we're witnessing the careful dismantling of the old, making way for something completely new, and soon this place will be home to our cutting-edge facilities, bringing fresh life and purpose to a historic location. Now moving over to Castle Leazes, once again to check in on how things are coming along in preparation for the brand new Students' Village. So not a huge amount of change to report this week. Most of the ground is now prepared and ready for the construction phase to kick off, hopefully sometime in the near future. Right now, the only visible work happening is the last bits of levelling being completed. There's not much equipment around and only a few workers on site at the moment. That's pretty much it for this week's update from Castle Leazes. Short and sweet, but don't worry, I'll keep coming back over the next few weeks and months to track the progress as the site transforms into the new Students' Village. We're here again at the new Students' Accommodation site on Leazes Park Road, and wow, in just 2 weeks since our last visit, the place is transforming fast. Let's take a walk round and see exactly what's been happening. Right here on the Leazes Park Road side, work is charging ahead. The floors are rising quickly around the first core lift shaft, and you can see the building shape becoming more defined. For the first time, window frames have started to appear on this side of the building. It's always good to see the first window frames go in. It's like the building is starting to wake up and take on its final look. Let's head round the back now. You can see the floors up the second core lift shaft making steady progress, just a couple of floors behind the first one we saw earlier. The pace is impressive, considering just a few weeks back this was much lower to the ground. We can also see the first window and door frames now in place on this side, which really helps to visualise how the ground floor spaces will feel once completed. Along the retaining wall, brickwork is steadily climbing upwards. It's neat, methodical work, and there's plenty of material ready to go. Pallets stacked high with breeze blocks are lined up, waiting for the next stage. There's also a lot of metalwork lying here on site, prepped and ready for installation, which means the next phase of the build could move forward pretty quickly once the current work is complete. Now, if we take a peek through the window of the old listed building at the bottom of the site, you'll spot some huge polystyrene blocks. These are going to be used for installation later on, helping keep the new accommodation warm and energy efficient. We're now back at Strawberry Place for another update, and yep, things are mostly the same as the last time, but there's one little change worth noting. So eventually they're going to be installing those big new advertisement boards above the metro station here. That's still the plan, but for now, not much progress on that front. What has changed is this: the white wooden fencing has been moved back. Now I can only assume this is to make room for the catering bands when the football season kicks off. And speaking of football, Newcastle's first home game is coming up very soon, so it makes sense that they're clearing a bit of space here to get ready for the crowds. We're down once again at Pottery Lane to check in on the new apartment blocks. Work is still moving along at a steady pace, and we're starting right here from up on the Redgate Bridge. From up here you get a nice panoramic view across the entire site, and at first glance it might seem like not much has changed since our last video, but as always, the closer we get, the more details we'll spot. So let's take a better look. Here, along the side of Building 1, the brickwork is continuing to climb steadily. The craftsmanship is looking consistent, and they're just 2 floors away from finishing the lower section of the block. Now moving on to Pottery Lane itself. Much like the past few weeks, there's still a lot of construction material on site. You'll see stacks of pallets and various supplies lined up along the outside of Building 1, and also in the gap between the 2 blocks. It might look messy, but this is the lifeblood of the site. Everything here is staged and ready to be used, so it's actually a sign that the team is keeping the workflow moving. Over at Building 2, we're seeing the first stages of brickwork beginning to take shape. This is always an exciting point in the project because it means the structural shell is giving way to its exterior finish. You can really start to imagine what the final buildings will look like. Down the side of Building 2, it's pretty much the same scene as the last video. Scaffolding in place, no major visible changes yet, but that's often the nature of construction. Some weeks bring big visual changes, others it's all about behind the scenes work. Now moving on to Pilgrim Place, and it's been 2 weeks since our last update. A lot has happened. The site is buzzing with activity as work continues on the 2 new office blocks. From up here on the bridge you can really appreciate how far things have come. The transformation is remarkable. Down at ground level, progress is everywhere you look. Over here, a freshly filled mould stands ready. The concrete inside will soon become another upright support, adding to the forest of structural elements already in place. Just a few steps away, we've got another mould tightly wrapped round a framework of steel reinforcement, patiently waiting for its turn to be poured. And as you scan across this section, you can spot several other reinforcement cages lined up, each one ready to be encased in concrete. Over here, these prefabricated stair units are neatly stacked, waiting to be craned into place. Each set will slot into the structure, speeding up the vertical build and giving the shape to the internal layout. Shifting our focus upwards, the steelwork is steadily climbing the second core lift shaft. Each day brings new beams, new platforms and more height to the skyline. At the first lift shaft, Pins are moving even faster. Floor after floor has been added, and we're now not far from reaching the very top. You might notice the bright orange steel support beams have been removed in several areas, a clear sign that these sections are strong enough to stand on their own now. From Warwick Street, the true scale of the project really hits you. The footprint is huge, and the building's profile is already dominating this side of the street. Down at the corner, the shape of what looks like the main entrance to the car park is starting to emerge, a key access point that's beginning to take form. Heading around the back, we get a better look at the first lift shaft's progress. The steelwork here has climbed impressively high, and right beside it, the second lift shaft is rising floor by floor, gradually catching up to its twin. It's not just about height. There's a lot of detailed work happening too. Welding, alignment checks and crane lifts are constant rhythm of the site. Every beam, stair, mould is part of a much bigger puzzle that's starting to reveal the final picture. So we're now back up at the new His Majesty's Revenue and Customs building, where work is inching closer to completion week by week. Every time we visit, there's something new to see, and this time is no different. Starting here at the corner of Market Street, the progress is hard to miss. The paving and curbstones have come a long way since our last visit just 2 weeks ago. The work here is giving the area a fresh, modern look, while still tying in with the surrounding streetscape. Moving around onto John Dobson Street, there's been a notable leap forward. A big chunk of the paved area is already complete, and work crews are steadily pushing ahead with the remaining sections. You can already trace where the new pavement will sit, almost like a blueprint brought to life. Up at the top end, large stretches are finished and looking sharp. At this point, it's really just down to tidying up the edges and adding those final touches. Now over to New Bridge Street, and it's another area where the changes are clear. The paving here is taking shape quickly, and it's interesting to see some of the original features are still in place, like those black fence posts and the old bus stop sign from before construction started. Looks like this might be incorporated into the final layout. And finally, onto Pilgrim Street. This side has had a familiar tall white construction fence for months, but now large sections have been removed. That gives us our clearest view yet of the finished building, and it's looking clean, modern and ready to make its mark on the city. Seeing it without the fence really shows off the design and how it fits into the surrounding streets. It's a big change from when this was just an empty site. We're back here again at the brand new North East Space Skills and Technology Centre on Ellison Place to check in on the latest progress. Starting at the bottom end of the site, you can see more breeze block walls have gone up since we were last here. The structure is starting to really take shape now. Bit by bit, it's all coming together. Now heading up to the top end of the site, there's not a huge amount to see here at the moment. They've hung green sheeting all along the side of the building, so unfortunately most of the work is hidden from view. Taking a quick look at the other side, you might remember the trench they were working on in the last video. Well, they're just about wrapping it up now. Looks like another step closer to completion. That's all I can bring you this visit. That green sheeting is keeping the rest of the progress under wraps. But don't worry, we'll keep coming back to check on things. And now for a quick roundup of some of the other projects happening around the city. Over on Northumberland Street, work to replace the entire paved area is still in full swing. But good news, we've got a bit of progress up at Haymarket, where one of the new seating areas is now complete. Further down though, well, let's just say the whole street's still a bit of a mess. Near the bottom, we've finally seen a pattern starting to take shape in the paving. They're already installed, so at least baby steps. Remember the second stack venue, the one that was supposed to open in May? Yeah, you've guessed it, it's still not finished, and judging by the video, there's no clear sign of when it will open. Over at St Nicholas Cathedral, restoration work is still ongoing, but the scaffolding is nowhere near as high as it was before, so that's something. And finally, The Granger Market restoration, it was meant to be wrapped up this summer, but now we're looking at 2026. The council says the 9 million overhaul is taking longer than expected. So a mix of progress, delays and a few mysteries still hanging in the air. We'll keep you updated as the city continues to transform. Did you know 55 Degrees North is now on Facebook? Come and join the conversation, share your thoughts and follow us for even more local content and behind the scenes updates. Got feedback and want to chat about any of the sites we visited today? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. If you've liked the video, please give it a massive thumbs up as it really helps the channel grow. And if you've not already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell notification for when I release more videos. A massive thank you for watching. See you next time, right here on 55 Degrees North.